because it is the truth.
Joining us now from Tampa, Florida, the key person behind Blagojevich's PR image, Glenn Selig from the publicity agency. Glenn, let's take a look back. Now that you can look back at the past year and a half, was it worth it to turn his notoriety into celebrity and bring on so much media attention?
Well, how much is it worth for people to know exactly what happened and the truth? It was important for him for people to know exactly what happened here, and what prosecutors were saying simply wasn't the case. So he took the opportunity to go out there, and whether it was talking to 1 million people at a time or one person at a time, he walked over to them and he said, I did not do these things that they say that I did.
We want to get to some tape here. Listen in. The former governor at times has said he has been the victim in all of this. He has said he's the target of people who just don't like him. Take a listen to this, his appearance on The View last September.
They've done that.
Do you think it's a government conspiracy?
I'm a sitting governor and a former prosecutor. You don't arrest somebody unless that person's a threat to his or her community or that person is a risk to run away. I was neither one of those things.
How did he do there? I mean, one theory is, you tell the defendant in a case just to shut up and don't talk about it. Obviously, he has been talking about it. How did you think that went?
Yeah, I was with him on the appearance that you played earlier from David Letterman and also at The View. I think he did a remarkable job in both those situations, because if you saw how the audience reacted to him, especially as the situation developed, it was quite remarkable. As you listen to him, as people have come to know him, in many respects, people didn't know him even as they elected him as governor. Now they know him even better, and as they have come to know him, they really like him, and I think they believe him.
Glenn Selig, would you go on the record then and just say this really was about getting to the jury, getting to potential jurors and letting them know?
This was about making sure that people understood what the truth was, and when people say things about you that aren't true, you don't just sit in the corner and take it. You go out there and fight, because you don't want people believing things that simply aren't true.
Glenn Selig, an image consultant for Rod Blagojevich, we appreciate your time and thanks for being with us on the show. So the Blagojevich media blitz, a smart, calculated move, or kind of a crazy scheme? We heard, his image consultant talking about how it was a good idea. He is getting to jurors. What do you think, Andy Shaw?
Well, I think this is uncharted water. We've never seen anything like this, and normally defendants do stay quiet in the pretrial period, and normally they're convicted and they go off to jail. So I think in Blagojevich's case, he felt that he had nothing to lose to try to go out there aggressively. It's who he is. I think the problem is that when his wife ate bugs on a reality show, and when he couldn't text and he was going toe-to-toe with Donald Trump on that Apprentice show, I think it demeans the whole process. You see a guy you elected 2 times to run your state looking like a techno boob, his wife off in the jungle. That's embarrassing. That's humiliating. So in many ways it was over the top.
I think it's curious that he's trying to portray himself as a celebrity but not as a politician, and that will benefit him. And when I hear Glenn Selig say, for example, that he wants to get the story out in the entirety, I think we haven't heard half of the story. He hasn't talked about Children's Memorial Hospital. He hasn't talked about allegedly trying to shake down the racetrack executive.
Final thought, though, did this work? Did it taint the jury in some way, or affect the jury's opinion of him? Maybe is a fair way to say it.
Well, I think if the goal was to get a couple of sympathetic people who believe that he's been a crusader for them over the years, and a couple of them hold out, and he is not convicted in a first round of a jury, then of course he's won. But as I've also pointed out over and over, the feds have unlimited resources. If he beats them the first time, the second time, the third time, they will try him until he's 100 years old, unless there's a reason not to. So it's a good strategy, but at the end of the day, unless he is acquitted,
what matters, right, most
then he's never going to be done with this process.
Now to what you have to say on this topic, and we found some very strong opinions on our Facebook page here at Fox. Paul Howard says, I think Rod believes in the theory of George Costanza. It's not a lie if you believe it. Steve Vukobratovich writes, Rod's crazy like a fox, but he keeps singing the same old song, I'm innocent and can't wait to tell my side of the story. Apparently, if he says that enough, he might start believing it. Another one, fairly critical of the former governor, Tom Calavang, says Rod is doing a great job polluting the jury pool. He should be placed under a gag order. Thanks for letting us know what you think. Some of your comments tonight, but for exclusive resources on the Rod Blagojevich trial, including an interactive guide to who's who in the case, head to my